Tony D and Little Joan in the background, and this is a screenwriter's rant on 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, which is a direct sequel to 28 Years Later. I have no idea why they did this. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. The links are in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's The Pineys, books 1 through 18, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. I don't know why anybody would watch this. I'm like dumbfounded they're even putting it out. So this is my second take, by the way. I wasn't happy with my first take. So the first 28 years later made money. Near as I could tell, a little bit of money. Probably not much. It made 150 million and cost about 60 million to make. So it made its money back, at least for the budget. They spent a lot of money. I mean, I saw a ton of advertising for this. So they may not have made it back on the advertising. January 16th. Now, January 16th is where they dump movies. That's where movies go to die. Mid-January to February, studios tend to release things they know are just dog-s. And this looks like dog-s to me. There's Spike from the first movie. If you saw the first movie. I saw the first movie. It's exactly what everybody said. All the critics said basically the same thing about, and when I mean the first movie, I mean the first 28 years later, that the first act is good, had a lot of potential, looked like a father-son thing, and then it just goes off the rails. It like drives itself right off a cliff. And I agree. I 100% agree with that assessment. So I was not happy when I got to. I was just glad this movie was over. It was one of those movies. I'm sitting through it going, oh, can this be over? And when it was over, I was like, thank God. And I couldn't wait to make my review and then never have to see 28 years later again. But here I am. Ralph Fiennes, I mean, he's a good actor. He's not bad in this, to be honest. But the story itself doesn't make much sense to me. And this is my understanding of it. The world of 28 years later sort of runs like this. The zombie outbreak happened. That was the first movie. The second movie, I think they're fighting back or they get a handle on it and then they lose it again. Something like that. I didn't see it. A lot of people didn't see the second movie. This one, the idea is the UK is isolated from the rest of the world. I think the rest of the world got a handle on the virus. But for some reason, it's running rampant in the UK and they're not going to go there. I don't know why. Like, if you cured it in the rest of the world, why wouldn't you go there? If you didn't cure it, why are people still running around and still coming to the island? If you did cure it, don't you have drones and missiles? Can't you take out the zombies? Can't you rescue the people on the island? Can't you send them supplies so they can live? So the idea that, it feels just so contrived that they jam up the UK just so this movie can happen, just so you can have a bunch of zombies and some survivors on the island, and then people on another island can go there and things could happen. Like, I don't think that's realistic at all. I think if something like this happened and they confined the virus to the island, they would either take the island back. That would probably be top priority. Or they would wipe out every living thing on it. Either with chemicals or missile attacks or whatever. Probably the latter. I mean, I wouldn't put it past governments to say, "Oh, those people are lost. We have to just let's just blow up the place and then quarantine it for 50 years and then we'll go back." I don't see what quarantining the island does and leaving the survivors to fight, other than, oh, it makes good setting for a movie. Yeah, if the whole world is like this, it makes a good setting for a movie. Anywho, none of that really seems to impact what's happening. It's just the setup for this whole thing. It seems like the creators are doing everything possible to de-emphasize the zombies, which, newsflash Hollywood, I go to see zombie movies to see zombies. I like to see the survivors win, but ultimately, I'm there to see the zombies and they're bad guys. So this weird thing where you're going to go, okay, we're going to kind of make the zombies the good guys, sort of. They're not as bad. They're really misunderstood. I don't know why you're doing that. It seems really, really stupid. There's another, I've mentioned this before, there's a web comic online, which I highly recommend if you like graphic comics. It's very graphic. It's called Crossed. And Crossed is this sort of zombie world, but very well written, in my opinion. Now, I'm not sure when Crossed started versus 28 days later. I think it started after that, possibly even after the second movie. But that being said, it's sort of, in my view, a better written version of this. And in fact, the 28 years later movie, there's a story that's almost exactly like that in Crossed. There's an island of a bunch of survivors, and it's about them going to shore, and stuff happens. Now, it's not a father and son thing. The plot is different, but the setup is exactly the same. It doesn't have like a Ralph Fiennes character, so I don't know why you would make a sequel. What I'm guessing, and I'm just guessing, is Danny Boyle essentially made a 4-hour movie, or possibly Alex Garland wrote a 4-hour movie, and they said, "Oh, we can't do 4-hour movie. I'll do half the movie. You do the other half." And then they passed off the second half of the movie to Nia DaCosta to direct. Now, I knew I heard that name before, and I was trying to remember what, so I had to look her up on the IMDb. And surprise, surprise, she is the director of and writer of The Marvels. So, yeah. I'm not so sure why you would put this movie in her hands, just like I don't understand why you would put The Marvels in the hands of someone who didn't have a tremendous amount of experience. I mean, she directed the remake of Candyman. I don't know how well that did. Let's take a look. I mean, I think it probably did okay. It was remake, and yeah, here it is. It was pretty popular, 25 million. So yeah, it made money. But it was a remake, and then you upgrade her to The Marvels, which is a movie that was very, very expensive, which she wrote and directed. So, in between, she directed Avengers Assemble Flight Force, whatever that is. The heck is that? Some sort of video? An adventure where guests team up with Iron Man and Captain Marvel to save the world from impending Kree missiles. Okay, I'm assuming that's some sort of like Disney thing. Yeah, I don't know why you would hire her to. I mean, that seems like way too big of a jump. You know, you go from directing a $25 million remake of a low budget horror film that's essentially a low budget horror film, and then you hand her The Marvels, which is that's a big movie. You know, setting aside the quality, it was a big movie. Why do you keep putting Disney directors who, in my opinion, aren't ready on these big movies? It's a big movie. I mean, they had Bird, I think his name is, direct one of the Mission Impossibles, and he did okay. I thought I watched that one. That was pretty good, but I'm recalling an interview with him where he said something like it. It was a lot. It almost broke him or something like that. I think I'd have to look it up again. But so this would be a smaller movie than that, but still a bigger movie than Candyman. It would be more in her wheelhouse since she did direct a Candyman reboot. But why would you do this at all? Why wouldn't you make one movie, see how it does, before you make a sequel? Why would you assume, like, oh, these will be great? Now, when you made 28 Days Later, and that was a hit, I could see you making 2 and 3, one after another, because you'd be like coming off the hit, right? But I kind of think the third one, I don't think the second one made that much money, did it? 28 weeks later. I know the third one made, it made its budget back. I'm wondering if it made money. I think I'm recalling it's kind of a flop, but you could argue that, well, at least it made its monies back. Here it is, 28 weeks later, grossed 64, cost 15 million. So that's some money. Yeah, because half of that is 30. So yeah, that made some money, and with the DVD sales, did pretty good. So third movie, I'm thinking didn't really make any money because you seem to spend a lot of advertising on it. So it seemed like foolish to put this in the can and then to dump it. If it was good and you dumped it on January 16th, that seems like a dumb idea. I don't know. Well, all I know is I saw 28 Years Later and I hated it for the most part. And there's no world in which I would watch this. So, first act, it just picks up where it left off with Spike teaming up with a bunch of crazy blonde weirdos who run the show in the immediate area where he got dropped off and somewhere near Ralph Fiennes' secret hideout while he's experimenting with zombies. At some point, the blonde-haired gang kidnaps a bunch of people, and it looks like they torture them pretty bad. This one may have some regrets about that. I don't know if they kill Spike or he becomes one of them. Here, maybe there's a bunch of people running back to their encampment. I don't know if the blonde guys are chasing them or the zombies. Maybe they kill Spike. Ralph Fiennes might die. This looks like Ralph Fiennes, and he looks kind of like a zombie in the picture later. So maybe everybody turns into a zombie at the end, and that's the end of the movie? I guess. I don't know. Who cares? I wouldn't see this. Not on a bet. Not on a bet would I see this movie. But you can, and you can like it too. I don't know why you would, but you can. Nina DaCosta, writer and director of The Marvels. I don't know why you would even hire her anymore. Wouldn't you send her back to the, Bush Leagues? Say, oh, Here's a $10 million movie. Do something with that. Maybe we'll let you direct again. This is still a pretty big movie when you think about it. It probably doesn't have the $60 million budget, and that's a step down from the Marvels, but I don't know, man. Okay, so that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan. I, I, I don't know what these movies are anymore. I'm lost. It's a confusing trailer, too. You can watch it yourself, in my opinion. What's up for me? Tomorrow I'm doing the Haddonfield 65 Club, where I talk about how to hunt the Jersey Devil. And then I'm off for a while. I won't be doing anything to the 13th. I'll be doing a scary book, or a scary story fest in Flemington at Act 2 Books on the 13th. So I got to finish the latest book and get my head screwed on straight. I don't know. I might do Lucille's Luncheonette sometime between then. If I got to get the first draft done. I'm a little behind as always. Thanks for tuning in tonight. I'm going to wash this from my brain. We'll see you tomorrow.